Hello everyone, it's Christian from the Couch Bros here. Again, a long time after the last video, but honestly happens with work changing schedules all the time, and then my other job opening up after a few months of closure because of COVID-19, so it's honestly finding time to do this anyways, and I figure now since everything's done, all the competitions, Serie A, Champions League, Europa League, I thought might as well do our end of the season discussion here and talk about a little of the key points from pre and post COVID lockdown, see how things have changed and how some of these teams can move forward going into next season considering the way they ended off this previous season. And I know definitely some teams definitely changed, we can say, in some manner because of the way they played, and there's of course one team we will talk about that probably had the best run post lockdown, which is incredible. But anyways, let's get right into discussing the Serie A standings and results and everything else that happened this year. So the big one also was here. Juve win their ninth consecutive Scudetto here. Congrats to them on winning it and remaining dominant in Italy. But I honestly want to say, if it wasn't for the lockout, I really feel Juve would not have won. They had the depth to play these games every 3-4 days because they had their Champions League fixtures, so they did have a team for that. But honestly, if the way they were playing, like if Lazio, like I want to say Lazio had the good run. They only finished they were a point behind Juve going into the break, but they fell quite a few points below. They finished 5 points behind Juventus in fourth spot. So they at least did qualify for the Champions League with some help from Roma and Napoli more Roma getting eliminated from Europa League. But they had the chance. They had so much momentum going into the season. They had their team was healthy. They basically just had a starting 11 that played in through each week, and they had their three subs that they used depending what the situation is. But because of the new five substitution rule, they had they didn't have any extra two guys to pick up, and especially when your key players get injuries or suspensions, who do you put on? Who? Like, that's the thing with Lazio. They didn't have enough depth in their squad to play every 3-4 days. And because Juve did have that, and plus the five substitutions, that really helped them. They did have players to bring off the bench, but I didn't see a strong Juve side this year. To me, it is probably the weakest Juventus side that has won, and their dominance is like through the Scudetto run here. And it is Sarri's first domestic title, like in a top flight. He didn't get one with Chelsea. He didn't get it with Napoli. He did get a few trophies when he was in the Serie D, Serie C, wherever the hell he was, basically in the lower ends of the table. But this is his first domestic uh, t- title with Juve. Well, in his career, really, I guess. But anyways, he won it here, and he did come close with Napoli. I will give him that. He did come really close, and that was a strong Napoli side. The first team to reach 90 points and above and not win the Scudetto. Man, I felt bad, right? And they did win that one game against Juve at the Allianz, sorry, but that, they lost the next game after, and that cost them. But anyways, Juve basically took advantage of the misfortunes of other side. At one point, Atalanta was even close to catching up, but that didn't happen either. And basically, they Juve did lose three of their last five games. They could have clinched it against Udinese, but that didn't happen. They won the week after, or the game after, against Sampdoria, and then they go and lose their last two games against Cagliari and Roma. But at that point, they had already won the Scudetto, so it didn't really matter. But anyways, this Juve team finished with 7 losses, and that's really unheard of, anyways. And yeah, I just honestly, the whole team, it just didn't play. Like, I honestly felt Sarri is not the coach Juve should have gone for. He just doesn't fit their style, and it's it did cost them in the first leg in the Champions League. Yes, Juve did win the next game against Lyon, but they've been playing competitive matches for at least a month before that. Lyon's probably played one or two friendlies, and they hadn't played since every league got canceled, and their league actually got canceled. They didn't make up games, so Juve should have been in more informed. Yes, they did win, but they lost because of the away goals. They should have finished it off, but it did not happen. And Sarri was sacked, and then Andrea Pirlo, who was brought in as the U23 coach, was automatically promoted to Juve head coach. And I don't know what to think about that. It's like almost how Milan was putting Inzaghi or Seedorf or Gattuso originally in at the helm, but then again, Inzaghi had some Primavera experience. Gattuso had some Primavera experience. The only one that had no previous experience was Seedorf, and he actually did quite well considering the team Milan had at the time. But then again, it's not like he lasted that long anyways. But it wasn't his fault, I feel. But I don't know how Pirlo will do. There's going to be a lot of changes at Juve. We already see Pjanic gone, and they're bringing in Arthur. Of course, that deal was done a while ago. There was already rumors of Cristiano Ronaldo leaving. I know they're trying to terminate Higuain and I believe it was Khedira's contract. They want to let them go. They've already gone rid of Matuidi. A lot of a whole bunch of players on this Juve team are dead weight, really, and they're older players too. And that's Juve just had too many old players. Honestly, one of their youngest players probably starting was De Ligt, but he barely started. He was very shaky. He grew into his role afterwards. I will say he did really grow into his role, and helped tighten up the defense, and his qualities did show, but seemed really shaky at the back. Bonucci was never the same. De Chilio should just get out of there. Danilo looked like crap. They just needed a huge overhaul, Juve. And with this, could we start to see the decline of the Juve dominance in Serie A? If it wasn't for those three losses, and there's one more game to play, Inter, who finished 1 point behind Juve, could have probably won. You know, they did slip up a couple times. They did look like they had a chance, but honestly, like I said, just a point that just one more game could have changed it all. It didn't happen. And Conte's team did look tough, but if they grabbed, honestly, a couple points from the draws they had against either Roma or Fiorentina, they would have won the Scudetto, and it would have been over right there. But it didn't happen as well. But at least Inter did have a solid campaign. They recently just finished runners-up in the Europa League, losing a very tight game to Sevilla. Unlucky for what happened with Lukaku, but stuff like that does happen. It was unfortunate. I guess he was just trying to play it safe, and then that happened. I don't know what can you do. Ref was definitely terrible in that game, I want to say, but what can we do? We're just fans watching the game, hoping for the best. Atalanta finished third. Once again, they're going into the Champions League, and hopefully we can see another wondrous campaign from them. And they were so close. They finished with 98 goals, man. We've never seen anyone score that much in Serie A. If only a couple more, and we would have seen them hit 100. And only Bayern Munich has hit 100 goals in their campaign, I believe it was. But in all competitions, they definitely hit 100 for sure. But they are a real powerhouse, and I can't wait to see what else Atalanta are capable of, what other players they're going to bring in to help them. It will definitely be a great season for them. And Lazio, should take this season into account in how anything can happen, and they have to buy substitutes. They are going in the Champions League, so they definitely should get some depth in there as well. And they do, like Immobile also, congrats to him finishing as the capocannoniere, tying Higuain's record of 36 goals and finishing the highest score of the Golden Boot as well. So congrats to him. He really did have a good campaign. Hopefully he can bring a lot of this to when Italy play as well, because we all know how we feel about that. But we do hope he can continue this and lead Lazio to better results come next year in the Champions League, Coppa Italia as well, and even Serie A. You know, you want to see if Lazio can do better than they did this year and hopefully not have such a huge collapse as well. And maybe, I know there's rumors of Simone Inzaghi leaving. Well, originally he was linked with Juve, but that's not happening. But I feel they can definitely keep growing with Inzaghi. He has definitely molded them into his team. He just needs a couple tweaks here and there, and he's pretty much set. Europa League spots were Roma finishing 5th, they get the automatic qualifier. Napoli finished 7th, but because they won the Coppa Italia, they get automatic entry. And then Milan finishing 6th must go through preliminary rounds into the Europa League. That is unfortunate because it would have helped if either Roma or Napoli got won the Champions League or Europa League, because that would have helped them gain entry, direct entry. But I guess it would be a good warm up for them. But also, speaking of Milan, you know, they looked shaky come pre-lockout. You know, they had just lost to Genoa. Pioli still had a lot of work to do to get his team together, and you know, they did end off even well with the Coppa. Well, Serie A they didn't end off okay, losing at home to Genoa, but then they also did tie at home to Juventus in the Coppa Italia, even though it should have finished as a 1-0 victory for Milan. But what am I to say of a dubious penalty in the 90th minute? They came back and they had to play the second leg fixture against Juve, where they played outstanding in 10 men for basically the whole game after Rebic stupidly kung fu kicked Danilo. Uh, but without a forward, Milan played like they played inspirational. They could have won a couple of changes. Could have won with a couple of chances that they had, but it's hard to play without a striker. And I know Pioli didn't really want to bring on one just yet. He wants to see how the game went. But speaking of that, though, they went into it and were the best team post lockout. If it wasn't for Atalanta's last game of the season, like Milan, Milan is the only team not to lose in the last 12 games of the season, which is incredible considering how they did. In 3 games in a row, they beat Roma, Roma, Lazio, and then Juve. If it's right in that order, or Lazio, Roma, I don't know. But it was pretty much those 3 games that they won, and especially the one against Juve, where you know they went 2 goals down and then managed to score 4 afterwards, 3 in 6 minutes. We would not have thought Milan to do that in such a long time. And especially the fact that Juve gave up 4, that's also another issue on its own. But the fact that Milan managed to rally back and claim all 3 points in that game is incredible. You know, they clawed back from 2-0 against Spal. They killed Lazio. They beat Roma. Like, it's incredible some of the results Milan got. And that did help them. And it definitely made them into a force here to reckon with. You know, Ibra playing outstanding, Kessie and Benacer finally clicking, and they actually played extremely well in 2 positions that fit them. And let's see what Milan will do next year, what they can build on, because now they're back in Europe, it does give them a chance to, go far in the competition, hoping to maybe win it. We'll see. But, they want to eventually go into a Champions League spot, and that's the first thing on their mind is to do that. But helping some of these players who've never played in Europe will help, and it'll do wonders because it was great doing that going into the season. Some teams here, as we go lower, were almost relegated. We'll say, Torino, Samp, Udinese all had scares for relegation. Torino only finishing a mere 5 points out, so they got very lucky there. They could have easily have gone down. They were winless in their last 5 games of the season, and If it wasn't for the teams under them already doing poorly and not having enough points as it was, well, you know, it really helped them there. But the team's also going down for those who haven't seen or just don't remember. Spal finishing dead last, first time ever in Serie A for them, as far as I remember hearing or reading somewhere. Brescia go back down and Lecce go back down, only spending a year up in the top flight. Now, let's see how many players stay with both sides. I already know Sandro Tonali already has a verbal agreement with Inter since June, I believe it was, and he is rumored to leave for the Nerazzurri soon. We'll see when that happens, and I'm surprised they're not selling him for cheap, but I guess they want to try getting the most out of it. And we'll see when these teams can get back to the top, get back to Serie A. Liverani was also sacked as Lecce manager. He is believed to be taking over Parma as D'Aversa was taken out of his role with the club there. So there's going to be a lot of changes here. With the teams coming up as well, we have Benevento, who had a record year, I believe, finishing with the most highest points in Serie B or difference or record of. There's some record there, I don't even remember, but they had an incredible campaign under Filippo Inzaghi, who has gained tremendous experience these last few years coaching the Serie B side. So he's returning to Serie A now. Hopefully he can do well and prove the Benevento will hope to stay and break their unfortunate record of 16 consecutive losses in Serie A. We also have, who finished second, Crotone, who've come back after a few years' absence from the top flight, and for the first time beating Frosinone in the playoffs. Well, beat them the first game, losing the second game. Beating them the first game, losing the second game, but they only advanced because of a higher seed, a higher standings. It is Spezia, who are also from Liguria, where Samp and Genoa are located. So they made it to Serie A for the first time in their team's history. So they hope to get the most out of it, and will look to provide a great campaign to remember for them and their fans. So we look forward to seeing what they can bring next year. So that's pretty much the Serie A table here. I know there's a lot to talk about, but I want to get some of the main points out there. If I missed anything, be sure to let me know. And if we can always talk about what I missed, what we can look forward to in the next season. There is still a lot to be seen, and how these teams, Sassuolo, Verona, and Fiorentina, well, more Sassuolo and Verona were at one point close to getting into Europa League. So they will hope to try to aim for that once again next year if they can strengthen their teams. And Torino, like I said, we're almost relegated. We'll hope to do better next year. They don't really, they're more mid-table, but they just had a disastrous campaign, and they're going to hope to move on for that. Let's see if Belotti stays with them as well. So that's going to be another thing to keep an eye on for next season. So let's go back to the European trophies here. As I did say before, Inter lost to Sevilla. Sevilla also had knocked out Roma on the first game back 2-0, so Roma did lose to the eventual winners. But Inter came so close to winning it. Would have been their first trophy since 2010, so they are still on their 10-year drought. And just to point out, I remember reading this somewhere. So this is probably, we'll say, the first decade or something. So from basically 2011 to 2020, it is the first year or first span of 10 years, decade, whatever you want to call it, that an Italian side has not won a European trophy, with the last one being Inter winning the Champions League in 2010. Juve have made the finals twice in the Champions League, but losing both times, once against Barca, once against Madrid, and then Inter losing to Sevilla. So basically we suck against Spanish sides in the finals, I guess we can say, but we hope to improve on that. Come anyone in the future, hopefully they can, not maybe play a Spanish side perhaps, but I know Sevilla did have experience going into that competition, as they are the record title holders with 6 now after that win. So it would have been good for Inter just getting a trophy. I know a lot of players have not played in a final like that before. And you could even tell, like someone like Handanovic, who's a great goalkeeper, he looked shaky at the back, did not look confident at all. The whole Inter back line just didn't seem to click at the back. They were struggling to move out, play at the back. And I know that's how Conte likes to play, but it just did not work for his side there. And again, an unlucky goal. There should have been a red card, but there's only so much we can say about the finals there, right? Roma, like I said, lost to Sevilla, so they would hope to do better next year. And I know it's tough when it's a one-game knockout. They are definitely exciting, but it does hurt, especially if it's a one goal. You could always hope to do it back against, in a second leg, right? But we'll see. I know there are rumors to actually consider the one-game knockout for the later stages of the tournament, but we'll see how that goes, right? I already spoke about Juve being knocked out by Lyon on away goals, and right after that, Sarri was sacked. So they just did not play up to standards, and Juve especially got Ronaldo just for the Champions League, but they have not been able to pass, not even make it to the semis. They struggle. They are struggling, and I really don't know what else can say about them. Atalanta, who got very unlucky, we'll say. Atalanta's not a team to defend, but they tried to hold on and hold on. But the way PSG were celebrating, they got lucky there because for Atalanta to lose so late, oh, they deserve to go through on that. But like I said, Atalanta are not a team to defend, and they just were not playing their game. It's tough when you're like that, and I know the quality of players did help with PSG. Angel Di Maria, Neymar, Mbappe, and of course the eventual winner Choupo-Moting, who is not the greatest superstar out there, but again, PSG just had the experience, and it just aided them, helping them to win that match. But I know Atalanta will learn, and they will hope to do better in next year's competition. Napoli, they lost to Barcelona 3-1 after the first leg. That was one of the games where they had to play the second leg. That one finished 1-1, and then they lost 3-1. An unfortunate game too, because the first goal, Lenglet, felt pushed. Was it Mario Rui into Koulibaly or Koulibaly into Mario Rui? Whatever. They pushed a Napoli player into another one, and the ref allowed the goal. Penalty was a little I don't know what to think of the penalty, to be honest. Koulibaly had his eyes all on the ball. Messi's foot came out of nowhere. Okay, yeah, he kicked him. It could be a foul. It could not be a foul because again, Koulibaly did not really see him coming, and he was already in mid stride when Messi stuck out his foot. So I don't know what to say there. I really want to hear everyone's thoughts on that because honestly, I don't know what to call it. It's like a 50-50 there. It could be a penalty, it could not be a penalty, but Napoli tried doing what they could, but unfortunately did not come away with it. Messi, of course, scoring a superb goal from off the floor. That was incredible. But Napoli will hope to do. They will also hope to do better, because they do want to go far, but it's tough for them. I know they did get Osimhen. I don't even know how to say his name, but they will hope he can add some reinforcements. And I know with Callion leaving as well, there goes one of their longtime servants for the club. So they will hope to reinforce their team. I know they are not in Champions League, but at least Europa League, Gattuso will hope to take that seriously and hope for the best in that. I know, again, we all struggled, and this year was definitely different compared to most seasons. But honestly, if the season was only counted towards, like post-lockout, Milan would have won, Atalanta second, Juve would have finished in a Europa League spot. There are so many changes, but that's not what it is. A lot of these teams will hope to be better. A lot of the teams will take how they were before and hope to improve and continue that form. Other teams will just want to just change and be the team they're known as. And I think some of you may know which teams I'm talking about, but with the season not it's far the new season not too far away, and I don't know, hopefully it can start on time considering all the cases that have just recently come out, but we're hoping for the best as long as they quarantine and stay away from everyone, self isolate. It should be okay. They're planning for a September 19th start date. So, and oh yeah, the calendar should be out soon. So keep an eye on opening fixtures. Not sure when that is because I don't think they've really said. But a lot of these teams were supposed to go into the Retiro um, to prepare, but some of them have not because, again, the cases. So hopefully everyone recovers. Also, one of the big ones was Sinisa Mihailovic, who is also sick with leukemia, has contracted COVID. So he is asymptomatic, not feeling anything. So hope for the best for him and that he may recover soon. So hopefully I covered everything. Did not forget anything. That is a lot to talk about. Sort of, my mouth is already getting dry with that. So um, I think I talked about everything pretty much post COVID lockdown. I feel like pre-lockdown was so long ago. It pretty much was. So hard to remember a lot of these things, but trying to take the most out of it and try to put it together and talk about what we saw, right? And I feel like I said, I got everything. If anyone has anything to add, be sure to comment below. Let us know what what we missed. What else can we expect going into the next season, or thoughts just in general about how the season went in Serie A or even European competition, Champions League, Europa League, and how some of these teams can fare. A lot of the transfers can affect the teams as well too. So we'll see um, how these teams react now with the transfer market and who they can get. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Calcio_Bros. I always tweet out the latest news as well and just tweet out some of my thoughts. Don't forget to click the bell and subscribe to our channel to receive all our latest contents. And we hope to hear from you guys soon. Ciao.